Okay, so welcome to this orientation session for the paper AFM, the Advanced Financial Management. This is Luqman Rafiq here in front of you. I'm the tutor for the course AFM, the Advanced Financial Management. So our session of today, the agenda for the session is that we shall be discussing about the AFM course. We shall be discussing the changes to the AFM syllabus that have recently been introduced. We shall be discussing the strategy that we will be adapting in order to deliver the AFM course that I'll be adapting. So all of this discussion plus the additionally the questions that you people may have with respect to the AFM syllabus and AFM curriculum. So I'm going to go through them. So before I proceed, let me just give you a bit of a background about this AFM course. First of all, this AFM course is one of those courses where, believe me, if I would have been somebody making decisions at ACCA, I would have made it a mandatory course for everyone to study. You cannot be a complete finance professional without studying AFM. You've got to be studying AFM if you want to be a complete finance professional. Why is that so? That is just because AFM is such a comprehensive, such an in-detailed course that it actually gives you an inside out detail about the financial management, and it's one of the best professional level optional courses that you would find, because it is conceptual, plus it is a bit tricky also, plus it's very much practical. The most important thing is that it's very much practical. It's the exact type of thing that you would face in the real life, and it's the knowledge that you would actually apply in the real life that you get when you study the AFM course. So anyways, what I'll do is that I'll move forward and I'll start discussing. The first thing that I will do is that I have in front of me the syllabus for the AFM, and this syllabus is for the September 2022 to June 2023 examination sessions. So I actually have the syllabus in front of me. Now, the first thing is I'm going to talk about this syllabus, that what is there in the syllabus, what are the things that are actually discussed, how exactly are we going to discuss the syllabus. I always, whenever I teach a subject, the first thing that I do is that I take students to the relational diagram of the course. Now, why is that relational diagram to the course important? Because it actually gives you an insight as to the connection of this course with other areas of the syllabus. So if I talk about the connections of this course with other areas of the syllabus, I know this thing, that this paper has got a connection with the SBL. This paper has got connection with the MA. This paper has got a connection with the FM. So that's what the connections are. Now, a very important thing is that this relationship is understood. This relationship is understood. But this relationship is a question mark for many. This relationship is a question mark for many. Now, why is this relationship existing? And what is it that you would have to do when you would have to study AFM? So I'm just going to explain to you in a while as I start discussing the syllabus component of the AFM. Because when I will start discussing the syllabus component of AFM, I'm going to start discussing this specific topic, this specific reason that why do you need to have the knowledge of the SBL. One thing before I move, a lot of you people would be wondering that we have not studied AFM till now. So that is okay. Even if you have not studied the SBL till now, you can still attempt this AFM course, because it's not 100% dependent on your SBL knowledge. There is a lot of things which could be a surface knowledge that you can get and you could apply. So you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to be like this, that I've not studied the SBL. How would I manage it? You will still be able to manage it. Don't worry about it. Now, before I proceed, let me just guide you through the syllabus areas section A, which has got connection with the FM. Am I audible? Okay. You've got syllabus area A, which is basically got connection with the multiple sections of the syllabus. You could see that this syllabus has got connection with the multiple sections of the syllabus. that it's connected to section B, C, D, E. It's connected to the whole curriculum. Now, before I proceed discussing about these all areas of the syllabus, I would first of all talk about this section F. This has already been existing. It has already been there. So this is not something that is new thing. Now, what is there with respect to this section G? So if you as a student know the CBE skills, if you know how to use a spreadsheet, if you as a student know how to deal the word processor document, you will be able to score marks in this area, the employability and technological, because the examiner is expecting you to apply the spreadsheet knowledge. The examiner is expecting to you to apply the word processing documents knowledge, because you got to write down the answer using these word processor, using the spreadsheet. That's what you have to do, and that's what has to be kept in mind. So that's one thing. Now, this is something new. Now again, if I talk about this professional skills, let me just tell you, what is this professional skills? Now, I mean, like earlier, ACCA used to have these professional skills at the SBL level, that there were 20% marks that were allocated to the professional skills. Now, it has actually been adapted at the optional level papers also. So you will have the AFM, you will have the APM, and you would have the AAA papers, who in which you would actually be attempting, you would actually be having marks for the professional skills. The ATX, it's not applicable right now, but it's going to be applicable later on. So from the examination perspective, you would actually be expected to demonstrate the professional skills. There are 20 professional marks that are there to be taken up. Earlier it used to be only 4 marks, but now it's 20 marks in this area. And I'm going to tell you that this is not something which is unique. This is not something which is going to be extraordinary or a rocket science or out of the world thing that you would have to develop. You've already been doing it at the SBL level. If you haven't attempted SBL, it's still not an issue. It's not something that would change the way the paper is examined to a max. It is going to require you to slightly amend the technique, slightly adapt to the requirement of the question. Otherwise, there is not going to be. Is the voice okay now? Yeah, is the voice okay now? Yeah, guys, is the voice okay now? Okay, thank you. Let me just guide. Basically, what happens is I have this AFM syllabus areas in front of me. You can see that there is this section A that has got connection with other sections. Then there is this section F and G. I've talked about the section G already. I'm now going to talk about this section F, which is the new addition to the paper. Now, let me tell you that from the September 2022 onwards, ACCA has introduced 20% professional marks at the optional level examinations also, but it is applicable to 3 optional papers, the AAA, APM, and the AFM. It's not applicable to ATX right now. It's going to be applicable at a later stage. Now, let me just tell you that by virtue of ACCA introducing these professional marks, what is actually going to happen? By virtue of ACCA introducing these professional marks, what is actually going to happen is that you now have got 20% marks allocated to the professional skills, and the 80% marks of the paper are allocated to the technical skills. Now, a lot of students, I bet a lot of students think that it is actually a rocket science. A lot of students think that it is going to bring about major change to prepare for the exam. Now, believe me, a lot of tutors, they have got a habit of creating hype of something. Uh, Everyone is respectful, but a lot of people, they just create hype for no reason. The professional marks are not something new. They were always there, and they have now been extended to the professional level papers, to the optional level papers. The professional marks of 4 marks were always there, but yes, now the additional professional skills are being allocated marks. And why is that so? The ACCA wants you as a student to be able to demonstrate those professional skills when you are writing down the answers. Why? Because ACCA wants you to have those skills when you go into the market. Now see, I'm going to take you through that what these professional skills are, but before that, let me just guide you that for these 3 papers, the optional papers, which is basically the APM, AFM, and AAA. Um, you know that the syllabus methodology is like this. There is a section A where there is a one question which is of 50 mark. Then there is this section B where there are 2 questions of 25 marks each. Now, what is going to happen is that in this section A question, 40 marks are going to be technical and 10 marks are going to be professional. There are 4 professional skills that ACCA has defined that it wants a student to develop. So all these 4 professional skills are going to be tested in the section A question. So there are going to be marks for all these 4 skills. For section B, each of the question would have 20 technical marks and 5 professional marks. And ACC has told you that for each of the question, they would define that which of the professional skills they are expecting you to demonstrate when you're writing down the answer to the question. Now, what are these professional skills? How would we prepare for them? Again, let me tell you, a lot of tutors create unnecessary hype. They just make things complicated for the students by just saying that this is going to change the way paper is done. This is going to change the way paper is being taught. This is going to change the way the paper is going to be prepared. No, 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 nothing. There's going to be a slight amendment. There's going to be a slight twist in the methodology. There's going to be a slight twist in the trick, and rest of it would remain the same. Now, what is that twist going to be? For that, I want you people to actually know these 4 professional skills that are actually going to be examinable. So professional skills which have been introduced, they include these 4 skills. What are these 4 skills? They include the communication, they include the analysis and evaluation, they include skepticism, and they include the commercial acumen. So examiner expects you that you will be able to demonstrate these 4 skills or whichever skill which is needed while answering the question. Now, what are these skills? What is it that you have to do as a student in order to develop these skills? So let me just guide you. The first thing is the professional skills. Just wait a bit. Okay. The first thing is the professional skills. Is the communication. ACCA had introduced 4 professional marks at different papers. Now the communication. What do we mean by communication? There are multiple things to communication. The communication is about presentation. The communication is about the choice of words. The communication is about the simplification in explaining a matter. This is what good communications are. Now, so if you are being given a data, you got to make sure that you present it in a proper manner. If you are being given a data, you got to make sure that you choose the right words, considering the audience that you are addressing to. You should choose a right format, considering whatever the type of communication that you have to do. This is not something new for you. You have been getting these 4 marks for the format, structure, content. It's just that there is a value addition that you got to focus on the right choice of words. You got to focus on making the communication clear, conveying your things clearly. That is something that's a value addition that has been introduced. Plus, the second skill is the analysis and evaluation. Now, what is this analysis and evaluation? So when I talk about analysis and evaluation, so when you are being given a data, when you are being given information, so amongst the information, you got to decide which information should be considered, which information should be ignored. You got to decide which information should be is relevant, which is irrelevant, which is more relevant, which is less relevant, which is to be considered, which matter is to be considered or given priority, which matter to be given less priority. These are the things that you got to consider as a student. So this is what the analysis and the evaluation is going to be, that you got to read the scenario, and from the scenario, you got to identify the matters, you got to identify the areas which need to be considered, the information that needs to be considered, the information that needs to be given more emphasis upon. That is what the analysis and the business and the evaluation skills are going to be. Then if I move forward for the skepticism. So when we talk about the concept of skepticism, being skeptic, you do study this in the audit, the professional skepticism. Here they've only used the word skepticism. When you use the concept of skepticism, it's a questioning attitude. Now, let me tell you, this is not something new for the AFM level, because, or even at the APM level, or even at the AAA levels also, because what happens is that let's say if you are talking about an AFM investment appraisal. So you know that with respect to investment appraisal, we do create a questions onto the rates of inflation, the rates of growth, the discount rate, the extension of finance, etc., etc. We can create questions. We can be skeptic about it. There could be assumptions that the management is using. We could be skeptic about those assumptions also. So that is all something that's a skeptical attitude. You're valuing a business. You're using cash flow based valuation. You're being given the cash flows. And what you do is that you raise questions on those cash flow assumptions. You raise questions on the cash flow growth. What is that? That's a skeptical attitude. That is not something new. You've been doing it. You have been doing it. So this is the skepticism that you would have to introduce, which is to create a questioning attitude, which is to have a questioning mindset in the examination. That's something that the examiner would give you marks on. Then the commercial acumen, the ethics are important. Plus, we all need to understand that the organizations are commercial. We as a financial management expert need to keep this commercial acumen in mind. We need to talk commercial sense. When we talk something, when we give suggestions, when we give ideas, we got to make sure that it has got the commercial sense there. It has got the commercial acumen there. It has got the business sense there. The organization is going to gain out of that. That is something that you have to keep in mind. So, first major change with respect to this professional level optional examinations is the introduction of the professional marks, which is the professional skills, which are 4 skills in total. The 4 skills including communication, analysis and evaluation, the skepticism, and the 4th one of them is the commercial acumen. Believe me, you just cannot gain these marks till the time you've got the technical understanding. If you've got the technical understanding, you can get the marks. If you don't have the technical understanding, you cannot get these marks at all. You just cannot get these marks. So make sure that you have the technical understanding. And I'm again telling you, a lot of tutors have the habit of creating a hype, have the habit of creating something like it's a rocket science that's being introduced. It's no rocket science. It's something very common. It's something that has always been examined. It's just that it has been given a weightage. It's just that it has been given extra weightage. That's it. So you just got to polish, you just got to tweak your answers a bit. That's it. Nothing else. So I hope that you people understand the latest change to all these professional skills, which is these optional level papers, which is the introduction of professional skills. Thanks, lady. Now, let me just move a bit forward. Let me just discuss. So when we are going to be talking about the AFM course, There are multiple aspects to the AFM course. You would see I'm going to come back to role of senior financial advisor. But before that, let me talk about investment appraisal. We're going to be talking about the investment decisions, the different type of techniques to be applied. We know NPV, we know IRR. We're going to talk about advanced techniques. We're going to talk about the international investment appraisal. So that is another area that we are going to be talking about. Then in addition to this, I mean, like there are additional advanced level investment appraisal that we are going to be talking about. Then we have already discussed at F9 level, the mergers and acquisition. What we are going to be doing over here, sorry, we have already discussed business valuation. At the AFM level, we're going to be talking about acquisition mergers. There are 2-3 things that we are going to talk about. We're going to talk about valuation. We're going to talk about regulations governing valuations. We're going to talk about financing of the value merger acquisitions, and also that the theoretical aspects of going for the merger acquisition. So one thing is we have already studied investment appraisal. We are going to talk about advanced level investment appraisal. We have already studied the valuation. We're going to talk about merger acquisition. Then there is this corporate reconstruction and reorganization. There are 2-3 aspects. The 2 aspects are important. Financial reconstruction, which is basically changing capital structure. Now that be by raising debt, that be by issuing shares, that be by share buyback, so on and so forth. So all of these things could actually be there. So we're going to be talking about financial reconstruction. Then you will have the business reorganization, which is changes to the way the business is being structured. Maybe you dispose of a subsidiary. Maybe you dispose of a segment. Maybe you change the way your operations are extracted. So we're going to talk about how all of this would have an impact on an entity, on a business. So that is also something that we are going to be talking about. So at the FM level, we have talked about the cost of capital. We have talked about the sources of finance. This specific area is a bit connected to that. In addition to this, there's going to be the treasury and the advanced management techniques. We already know that there is currency risk. We already know there is an interest rate risk. As an organization, you face both these risks, the currency risk, the interest rate risk. So at this AFM level, there are going to be advanced level techniques of the risk management, which is the currency and the interest rate risk management. Now, let me just guide you people a bit. So this AFM course is the advanced version of FM course, and the topics that you study at FM, how they are connected to AFM, let me just guide you. You study investment appraisal. It is now advanced investment appraisal here. You study sources of finance. You study the cost of capital. It's actually reconstruction over here. You study the valuations. It's into mergers and acquisition over here. You go for the risk management. It's the advanced risk management here. Then what actually happens is we do study the working capital management. That working capital management is not examinable at AFM level. Lastly, there are general techniques about the financial management environment, about the treasury function of the organization, and so on and so forth. So there are different type of small techniques that are also there, and they are part and parcel of the course. Now, what is actually going to happen? How exactly am I going to teach you? So the way I teach is online blended. This time around, I mean, like online blended, that's a mixture of live plus recorded classes. This time round, I'm making a change that my portal would now include the FM lectures also. because a lot of you people have got exemption from FM. A lot of you people would have attempted FM 2 years back, 3 years back. So what you would actually want is that you would want to have a quick revision of FM. So the FM lectures would also be there. Plus, okay, I'm just gonna talk about the syllabus changes. There are minor 2 changes, nothing else. Now the portal would have FM lectures also for the related topics. There's going to be a WhatsApp group for discussion. I've communicated to my team very strict that we shall not be using the WhatsApp groups for marketing purposes. It's just occasional sessions or things that would be conveyed there. Otherwise, it has to be interactive group. That's it. It should not be used for marketing. And if there has to be marketing, it has to be subject specific marketing. It should not be the general marketing that we would be using. Plus, what happens is that there is live classes which I shall be conducting on a weekly basis. I'm going to convey the planner to you people in the coming week in the next class that I'll be doing. Plus, within the live classes, they are mainly going to be the query classes with a defined agenda. You would define the agenda. You're going to have the classes as per those agenda. Plus, in addition to this, you will be given the assignments which you would have to do. And lastly, what is actually going to happen is that you would be getting live classes, which are the revision classes in the last month. And this time around, it's 3 to 5 days, a total of 20 to 25 hours classes that I shall be doing for you people. So with respect to this AFM, you would love to have the AFM course. You would enjoy this course to the maximum. And it's going to be one of those courses that is going to develop your skills and that is going to develop your capabilities of operating in the real life. Now, last thing, there are things which are basically the changes syllabus. So what are the changes to the syllabus? One of them is one area which is integrated has been removed. So that's actually deletion from the course. There's a new outcome added to A6A, which is about transfer pricing. It's the international transfer pricing that has been added up. Plus multi-period capital listing, it wasn't there in the AFM syllabus. That is it actually examinable from the calculation perspective or what? So it's the discussion only of multi-period capital rationing that's going to be examined. Plus the initial coil offering ICO has been changed security to non. Then what happens is that there are these you can get these later also. All that you have to put the information and automatically you will get the BSOP calculator. You get the BSOP calculator. You just have to put in, it will automatically do the calculation for D1, D2, etc. etc. That's what it is going to do. Then there are few things from the Vega and Rho, where the delta and the gamma and the theta have been retained. Special skills are added, so that's how the amendments are there with respect to the AFM course. So with respect to the AFM course, it's gonna take us. We're gonna plan it this way that we get over with the whole course 15 day or 20 day before the examination, so that we could prepare accordingly and we could take things forward. So in case if you have any questions, just do let me know and I'll be happy to answer. How do we need to know FM authority? No, not really. But the FM lectures will be made available to you, or the FM level revisions will be made available to you in Topoli. Anyone else having any other questions, please? Okay, what is A6A? Okay, it's just about that there has actually been the international transfer pricing things that have been included. So that's A6A. Yeah, Noha will get the planning class. While doing classes, get the planner in the class. For the time being, if you got access, study in the sequence that you've been giving the lectures. No, Tareem, they haven't been updated right now. They will be updated with the professional skills. Don't worry about it. Tareem, they have not be okay. Noha, I will be doing classes next week. You will get access to those class. You will get access to the planner in that class in the coming week. Tareem, yes, the practice questions are going to be updated with the professional marks very soon. Yeah, anyone else having any other questions, please? Antopoli, Hamza, Ivan, Sugivan, James, Marisa. Okay, I said about BSOP that we used to do the long calculations of Black-Scholes option pricing model. It was a technical calculation. The examination would now include the BSOP calculator. That means when you would go into the paper, you'd have the BSOP calculator there. Okay, it's a model Black-Scholes option pricing model. I will come on to it. Don't worry about it if you haven't studied, because there are students who have already attempted AFM, so they know these things a bit. So, okay, lovely. So in case if anyone have got any questions, okay, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for your time. Thank you for attending the session. It was great to have you all. I will continue, inshallah, in the upcoming classes, the further aspects of AFM. And for all those who are interested, you may contact our team, or they will probably contact you because we have got your details now. So thank you very much, all of you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for attending the sessions.